All right, welcome to the deep dive. We're always looking to plunge into those fascinating stories buried in some really extraordinary sources. And today, well, we've got a truly compelling one for you.
Yeah, this one really takes you places.
It does. We're
Wow.
cutting across continents, decades even, starting in 2010. Picture this: a quiet room in Kabul. Our narrator, he's a plastic surgeon, Markos, just got home from his clinic, probably exhausted, right? Just wants
Hmm.
to unwind, but then the landline rings. Answering machine clicks on, and the message is, well, it's blunt. From someone named Thalia.
And it just says,
Call your mother, you ass.
ah, it's quite the hook, isn't it?
Yeah.
That kind of direct, almost aggressively affectionate command right at the start tells you immediately there's a deep, probably complicated relationship there.
Exactly. So our mission today is really to journey into Markos's life. We're going to weave together his reflections from, present-day Kabul with this really pivotal summer he spent in Greece as a child.
And we're pulling these threads from his own notes, his memories, to try and unravel how that one single summer really shaped his whole life. We're talking his choices, his relationships, how he eventually saw himself.
Yeah. And as we navigate Markos's story, we want to leave you, our listener, with a key question to maybe mull over as we go through this deep dive. What does it actually mean to truly see someone? With all their complexities, their vulnerabilities.
And conversely, what does it mean to feel truly seen yourself?
Right. So get ready. This is definitely a deep dive into unfolding understanding.
Okay, so as you mentioned, we find Markos in Kabul, 2010. He's working there as a plastic surgeon, lives in this house he inherited from an old landlord, Nabi.
Right.
And his view is interesting. He looks out and sees these loquat trees they planted together, Nabi's old quarters nearby, and this rusted 1940s Chevrolet.
Mm-hmm.
Just sitting there, covered in snow, hasn't moved in decades.
Wow. Like a piece of frozen time?
Exactly. A real symbol of forgotten history, something stuck. And meanwhile, his days are filled with this incredibly demanding volunteer work, operating on children. Really impactful stuff.
And then there's that phone call, the one back to his mother, Mama. Her name's Obelia, back in Greece. And their relationship, it's clearly got some distance, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. He describes it as feeling like there's always static on the line, almost literally and figuratively.
Yeah. And he mentions this habit she has, sometimes just lowering the receiver and walking away mid-conversation, like she gets lost in her own world, her armchair drama with Thalia there in the background.
It really paints a picture of him feeling like he's talking into a void, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Across oceans and continents. So what about that distance he's maintained?
Well, he's pretty explicit about it. He says he put, and I quote, an ocean, a continent, or preferably both between us for the better part of 3 decades.
Wow. That speaks volumes, doesn't it? Suggests a deep, maybe painful history we're about to get into.
Definitely. And adding to the complexity, Mama's health isn't great. She had some kind of neurologist diagnosis 6 months before, some twitching, dropping things. The source doesn't name it, but it's clearly serious.
Right. But despite that, she's been on this absolute tear of activity, repainting the house, fixing leaks, building a closet, replacing shingles, even working on a dovecote.
It's incredible energy.
It is, and she has this really dark, dry humor about it, joking they'll eventually have to trap me in the iron lung. It shows this remarkable disdain for self-pity.
Such a contrast to her physical condition, right?
Mhm.
And this intense activity, it almost feels at odds with what he describes as her deep-seated skepticism.
How so?
Well, Markos notes she's an islander through and through, and she views any apparent acts of goodwill from mainlanders with a lot of suspicion. Like, what's the catch?
Ah, okay. That definitely sets up some interesting dynamics for later. Maybe explain some of Marcos's own choices, his own distance, perhaps.
Could be. And what's also fascinating is when Mama asks about Nabi and Pariwadadi, Markos just sidesteps it. He deliberately avoids sharing the full story, about Nabi caring for Suleiman or Naila Wadadi's escape.
It's like he sees these boomeranging parallels, as he calls them, hitting a bit too close to home.
Exactly. It's subtle, but it tells you right away this isn't just his immediate family story. It's about how our personal histories can echo these larger narratives and how sometimes we shy away from truths that feel too familiar.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that complex present-day picture sketched out, you
Right.
really need to rewind to understand what shaped Markos. And for that, the story shifts dramatically. We're going back to the summer of 1967.
Right. Markos is 12 years old, living on the Greek island of Tinos. It's a simple, traditional life with Mamá in their whitewashed stone house, those classic views of the agency.
Sounds idyllic almost.
It does. A real stark contrast to what's about to, well, burst into their quiet world.
Which,
Madeline and her daughter, Thalia. Madeline arrives described with lipstick, powder, perfume, wearing a neon green mini dress, like something out of an airline ad.
so very glamorous, very modern for Tinos in '67, I imagine.
Completely, especially compared to Mama. Markos remembers seeing Mama in her own fancy outfit in an old family photo looking like a forbidding widow, and he says you could just sense a current of dissatisfaction between them even then. It's like two different planets colliding.
And there's history there, right, between Mom and Madeline.
Oh, deep history. They were inseparable as kids, swore oaths to be sisters for life, promised they'd live next door to each other always.
Right.
But Madeline left the island when she was 17, wanted to be an actress. And Markos notes that Mama clearly carries this tinge of unspoken hurt about it all. The broken promises, the abandonment.
Ah, the classic story.
Yep.
One friend leaves to chase a dream, the other stays behind, feeling left. It creates a strain.
Definitely. And then there's Thalia, Madeline's daughter. Markos describes her as lanky, pale-skinned with limp curls. But what really grabs his attention, what he says obliterates all other observations, is the mask.
The mask.
Yeah, a mask covering the lower half of her face. Markos admits he felt this morbid eagerness, a mix of half-thrill, half-dread about the scar Mamá had mentioned she had. He couldn't bear the thought of seeing it, but he also couldn't wait.
That sounds very much like a 12-year-old's reaction, doesn't it? That mix of fear and fascination with something forbidden or different.
Totally. And that tension just it explodes. He's taking a tray, coffee and pastelli, upstairs to Madeline, and he catches a glimpse of Thalia in a mirror without her mask.
Oh, wow.
His reaction is immediate, visceral. The tray crashes down, porcelain shatters everywhere, and he's actually retching. He says what he saw. Well, the word scar wasn't one of them. It was something far more shocking to him.
Goodness. And what about Mama? How did she react to this?
That's what's truly astonishing. In that same chaotic moment, Markos sees something he's rarely, if ever, witnessed. A single tear swelling in his mother's eye. Just one.
Wow. That's incredibly powerful for Mama, showing this depth of empathy Markos doesn't usually see. But Markos himself, his initial reaction to Thalia is pretty rough.
It's intense. He really struggles with her presence, especially the mask at mealtimes. He says his stomach turned hearing her eat behind it. He just immediately wants her visit to be over. Starts a mental countdown even.
It's raw, isn't it? But maybe honest for a child confronted with something so profoundly unsettling and unexplained.
Yeah, very unfiltered. And that visceral reaction is kind of the starting point for his whole journey of learning to see beyond the surface, isn't it?
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Madeline is, filling the house with her stories. She's married to this guy, Andreas Giannikos. Wealthy, much older, used to be a film producer. Now he's in construction.
Sounds like quite a life changer.
Yeah, and she openly complains about his right-wing friends and their martial music. She's actually afraid of being labeled a communist anarchist. So despite the glamour, there's this undercurrent of anxiety in her life too. Very different from Tino's.
Right. And it's actually through Madeline's stories that we learn something truly extraordinary about Mamá. About her loyalty, her courage.
Like, what's that?
Madeline reveals that her own father was abusive. And Mamá intervened. In the most direct way possible. She walked over to his house carrying her own father's hunting rifle.
No.
Yes. Shoved the barrel right under his chin and said, "Do it again and I will come back and shoot you in the face with this rifle."
My goodness. That's incredible bravery. Fierce.
Unbelievable, right? Madeline even laughs telling the story, remembering how her father wet himself out of fear. But Mamá visibly disapproves of that detail.
Interesting. So even when defending someone against someone deplorable, Mamá still believed in a certain dignity. No need to gloat about his humiliation.
Exactly. Which leads Markos to this really sharp insight about his mother. He starts to see these profound acts of courage, like confronting Madeline's father, not just as pure selflessness.
Oh. How does he see them?
He thinks of them almost like currency, something exchanged for indebtedness, for allegiance. He wonders if maybe that's why Madeline felt she had to leave all those years ago to escape that sort of unspoken obligation.
That's a really complex take on kindness, isn't it?
Yep.
Suggesting that even altruism can be tied up with our own anxieties, our own needs.
Yeah, he connects it directly to Mama's own underlying neediness, her own anxiety, her fear of loneliness, her deep dread of being abandoned. It's a really insightful look at how our best intentions and our deepest fears can kind of twist together.
It really is. But then we start to see Thalia differently, through Markos' eyes as well. She begins to emerge from behind the mask, figuratively speaking.
How so?
Well, she's quiet, yes, introverted, but she has this surprising passion for science. She actually builds a working horizontal sundial, just using a postcard as the gnomon, the part that casts the shadow.
Wow, that's clever for a kid.
Very. And Mamá, surprisingly, shows this immediate, genuine interest. Not pity, but real curiosity. She even offers to help build another one.
And Thalia.
She politely turns her down, says she already knows how. It's a quiet moment, but it hints at Thalia's capability, her self-sufficiency. And it shows Mamá connecting with her on an intellectual level.
That's a nice shift. But the tension with Markos is still there, right?
Oh, yeah. It comes to a head when Mamá confronts him directly about how he's been treating Thalia. He finally admits it. He called her a monster.
Oh, tough moment. How does Mama react? Anger?
No, not anger. More like disappointment, a kind of disheartened resignation. But she's firm. She tells him very clearly she's a person who has had a terrible thing happen to her. And then she challenges him, dares him to call Thalia that name again.
So less a punishment, more a demand for empathy, a demand that he see her.
Exactly. See the person, not the disfigurement. And it seems to be a real turning point for Markos.
Because after that, they start to connect.
They do. A really unique partnership forms. They actually bond over building something together. A pinhole camera.
Ah, the science connection again.
Right. Made from one of Madeline's old shoe boxes. And Thalia is the one doing the precise calculations, figuring out the exact 0.6 millimeter pinhole needed.
And they find someone to help them.
Yeah, this local guy, Mr. Russos, who owns a knick-knack shop, he not only develops the photos for them, but he actually teaches them about working in a darkroom. This shared project, this creation, becomes the bridge between them.
That's great. And their first photo, that's significant too, isn't it?
Hugely significant. Markos takes a picture of Thalia sitting on a rock. Her back is to the camera, and she's flipped her hair just so to cover the bands of the mask she's still wearing outdoors.
And that's the photo.
That's the photo Markos carries with him for decades, a real touchstone of that summer, of their changing relationship, and maybe his own evolving perspective.
Wow. So as the summer ends, there's another big change, right? Madeline leaves.
She does. Permanently this time. She elopes with some film director named Elias. Apparently her acting career didn't pan out. It was a failure. But her leaving, while probably painful in its own way, actually sets the stage for Mamá to do something incredibly brave.
What's that?
She sits Thalia down and tells her, simply, that she doesn't need to wear the mask anymore. Not in their house. It's this powerful, unconditional acceptance.
And Markos witnesses this.
He does. And in that moment, he has this huge realization. The mask. It wasn't really for Thalia's protection. It was for Madeline. To shield Madeline from her own embarrassment, her own shame about her daughter's appearance.
Oh, that's quite an insight.
Isn't it? And Thalia, she slowly takes the mask off. And Markos makes a conscious effort this time. He holds her gaze, really tries to see her, without his prejudice, without Madeline's discomfort filtering things.
Thanks. Huge step for him. And Mamá support, it extends beyond the house, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. News about Thalia eventually gets out on the island. People are curious, kids start taunting. So Mamá takes action. First, she starts homeschooling both Markos and Thalia.
Okay.
But then she makes a very public declaration at the schoolyard. Blows a whistle, gets everyone's attention, climbs up on a bench, and basically announces, "This is Thalia Giannakos. As of today, Thalia is the student at this school. I expect all of you to treat her with decency and good manners. If I hear rumors of taunting, I will find you and I will make you sorry."
Wow. Just lays down the law. Fierce protector.
Totally fierce and incredibly effective. From that day on, Thalia never wore the mask again. Not in public, not at home. Mamá's stand, it basically paved the way for the islanders' eventual acceptance.
That's amazing. And Thalia thrives.
She does. Gradually she integrates, makes friends, becomes, as Markos puts it, improbably enough, almost ordinary. And Markos, who started out so repulsed, now feels this real admiration for her strength, her resilience.
It's quite a transformation for both of them that summer. But their paths diverge after that, don't they?
They do. Thalia's stepfather, Andreas, offers to pay for private schooling for her in England. A big opportunity.
And Markos encourages her to go.
Strongly.
Yeah.
He really pushes her, tells her she should pursue science, says you could be anything you want, trying to be supportive.
No, Thalia refuses.
Flat out. Her answer is firm, final. No, Markos, no, I couldn't. That couldn't. It really hangs in the air.
Yeah. What does he eventually make of that couldn't?
Years later, as an adult working as a plastic surgeon himself, he finally gets it. He understands her refusal wasn't about lack of ambition. It was about her recognizing a harsh reality, that the world didn't see the inside of you. that so much of what people could be, their opportunities, hinged on their outward appearance. And this realization deeply informs his own career choice.
And so his decision to become a plastic surgeon specializing in fixing facial injuries, it stems from Thalia.
It seems deeply connected. He sees it as a way to rectify arbitrary injustice, maybe for people like Thalia. But he's also honest with himself. It wasn't just pure altruism.
Right. There were other factors.
Yeah, he admits the more conventional desires were mixed in too money, prestige. It makes it more human, more relatable, I think. Shows that even our noblest motivations can have these complex, sometimes self-interested layers.
Absolutely. And this path towards plastic surgery, it's also shaped by what he does in his early adulthood, right? He travels a lot.
He does. He becomes quite nomadic for a while.
Mm.
And interestingly, it's funded by Thalia. She gives him half of her inheritance from her stepfather.
Wow, that's generous.
Incredibly. And as he travels, he develops this ritual. He sends her copies of all his travel photographs, keeps the other set himself. It's like they're sharing this journey, even though they're continents apart.
Almost like a visual diary shared between them.
Exactly. And then things take another dramatic turn during his travels. He's in India, contracts hepatitis, ends up in hospital, loses everything, passport, money, all his photos, except one.
Let me guess. The photo of Thalia on the rock?
That's the one. It's all he has left. And while he's recovering, he forms this bond with a young boy in the next bed who's dying. His name is Manar.
Manar, meaning guiding light.
Precisely. And in this really profound moment, Markos gives Manar the photo of Thalia, his last connection to his past. And this act, this letting go, seems to spark something in him.
It changes his direction.
Completely.
Yeah.
He decides to stay, to volunteer at that hospital. And that decision ultimately leads him down the path to Kabul, to the charitable plastic surgery work we see him doing at the start of the story. Manar, and by extension Thalia's photo, became his guiding light.
It's amazing how these threads connect across time and place, and past connections keep resurfacing, don't they? Like with Madeline.
Right. In 2002, years later, Markos happens to see Madeline's obituary. She died from emphysema after a long illness. But her life, contrary to his expectations maybe, was actually quite successful.
Oh, she didn't self-destruct.
Not at all. She founded a respected theater company, got critical acclaim, was known for her charity work, her wit. She built a whole different successful life for herself.
How does Markos react to that?
It's complex. There's anger, disbelief maybe, but also this dawning understanding. He recognizes their shared desire for reinvention, for escaping their pasts. And he even admits to a feeling of, well, envy about her success.
That's really honest. It forces him to confront his own judgments, doesn't it?
Definitely. Especially about people he felt had maybe wronged him or let him down. And through all these years, all these changes in his life, in Madeline's life, there's Thalia. Just steadfast.
Back on Tinos with Mamá.
Exactly. Markos returns there in 2010, the year the story starts. He sees Thalia, notes the changes, white hair, she's become sturdy, plump, has this air of cordial defiance. She's taught herself IT skills.
Wow, adapting again.
Always.
Mhm.
And Markos observes this quiet continuity of their shared life, Mamá and Thalia's. A life he admits he's been largely absent from. He feels this gaping hole in the house representing his own absence. He's been watching from afar, but not really participating.
Until he sees the photos.
Ah, yes, the digital revelation. He's in Mama's room, and he sees a digital picture frame cycling through images. And they're his travel photos, the copies he sent Thalia all those years ago.
She kept them all.
Every single one. And it hits him, this profound realization. She has been my true sister, my true Manar, all along. She's been his constant, his quiet guiding light in her own way.
And he finds out something about Mamá, too, right?
Yeah, this wonderfully human detail. Thalia tells him Mamá has basically become a cyberspace stalker.
Yeah.
She checks the news about him online every single day, finds articles about his work in Kabul.
Huh. That's brilliant. All that distance, and she's been quietly keeping tabs full of hidden pride.
Exactly. It reframes that blunt phone message at the start, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Call your mother, you ass. It comes from a place of knowing he's out there doing good things, but still wanting that connection.
Totally. So this leads to a real conversation between Markos and Mamá.
It does. A proper talk about her health, her fears. And Mamá, she's still sharp as a tack, offers these blunt insights into both of their deepest fears. Markos's, she says, is confinement. Thalia's is being stared at. And these fears have shaped their whole lives, their choices.
And her own fear.
She admits it, finally. Her fear is simple, to be a burden, and Markos instantly recognizes the unspoken truth. If she becomes a burden, it will fall on Thalia.
Wow. Heavy stuff, but honest.
Very honest. And then something happens that Markos seems completely unprepared for. After years of perceived disapproval about his work in Kabul, Mamá says it.
Says what?
You've turned out good. You've made me proud.
Oh, wow. After all that time.
Right. He's deeply emotional, totally caught off guard, and just hit with the weight of all the time lost, all the misunderstandings, the distance. It's this huge moment of acceptance, cutting through decades of tension.
A really powerful, quiet climax to their story.
It really is. And our deep dive kind of brings us to a close soon after, with the family together watching a solar eclipse.
Yeah, the light filtering through the olive trees, creating these shining sickles of light on the ground. A beautiful image, a metaphor almost for seeing things differently, seeing the light around the darkness.
Perfectly put. And then there's this moment of just pure, simple joy. Thalia finds a piece of cut glass on the ground
And she uses it.
to make rainbows. She catches the eclipse sunlight and makes these little crescent rainbows dance on Mama's wrinkled hands.
Oh, that's lovely.
And Mama gasps and then smiles. A smile Markos describes as purely guilelessly delighted, something he rarely sees. And in that moment, he feels that ache again, the sadness for lost time. Wonders, is it too late for them? Have they wasted too much?
But he doesn't stay in the regret.
No. In that fragile, beautiful present moment, Mama looks at the rainbows and asks him, "Isn't it beautiful, Markos?"
And he answers.
He answered, "It is, Mama. It is beautiful."
Hmm.
And he reaches over and takes her hand. It's this simple gesture, choosing the present, choosing connection, over dwelling on the past.
A really poignant ending. It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? About how our deepest fears, those hidden wounds we carry, how they shape our lives, our relationships.
Yeah, and how we perceive love, how we perceive acceptance, and maybe that ultimate question, is true connection found in the grand gestures, the dramatic sacrifices?
Or is it found in these quiet moments? Shared beauty, simple presence, taking someone's hand while looking at rainbows made from broken glass.
Something for all of us to ponder, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We hope this deep dive into Markos' life, Mama's life, Thalia's life has given you plenty to think about.
Until next time.